Not really. Counselor Nottingham.
Here.
Counselor Bouchard. Here. Counselor Reynolds.
Here.
Mayor Burris.
Here.
Counselor Sandusky.
Here.
Counselor Christ.
He is excused.
Counselor Oppenheimer.
Here. All right. Did you have any announcements?
Not,
Or,
I'll take care of all of them during my comments.
I saw it. All right, perfect. All right, now is our public comment section. Any person may address the council after being recognized by myself. However, topics which are under appeal or legal in nature cannot be addressed. Please state your name and address for the record. Time is limited to 3 minutes per person. Anybody? Don't want to say? Do we have anybody online? No? All right. Here we go. Next, we'll move to new business, request to appoint budget committee members.
So, every year we have to, do budget committee, as part of Oregon laws regarding our budget, and we have been going back through the records. And we have, we can have up to, I think it's up to 1 for each council member. We have not had any applications come in so far. This has been advertised. But we have not had any applications, so we've left this on as new business just so that we can say that we did. We still have a couple of members. We have staggered terms for our budget committee members. So we do have a couple that are still on, but we don't have anybody to fill the open term that is open now.
Okay. All right. Next would be request to approve the city's fiscal year 2025 and 2026 municipal budget calendar.
It should be 26, 25.
That's sorry. It should be 26, 27.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
You've got the calendar in front of you. This is the process that we will be using to go through our budget process this year. It always comes around way too quick.
Anybody have any issues with those dates? By chance? No? Good for me. Everybody else good with us? Okay, you need that in a motion form? Or just agreement?
I believe so. I think we have to adopt it.
But I move that we approve the budget calendar as written for 2026-2027. I guess the 2026 budget.
Is
Did I say
it?
that right?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Seems
For the 26-27 fiscal year.
26-27 fiscal year, approve the budget as, or sorry, approve the calendar as written. Jesus, that was good.
Alright. Says, oh,
Justin, Justin.
Thank you.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, motion passes, the council seated. Next,
Really quick, that May 27th, what was that date? Is that like, you had the 26th and the 27th?
that'd be the second, if you don't get it done in one.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's always
and then the
the
first, I think.
We've never done a second, so I bet.
It's been a long time since we've gone. We used to do it in like 4 or 5 days, but ancient. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen, but
Really?
sorry. Oh, too much fun.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's been like a.
Okay. Alright, next is request to approve OLCC retail offers liquor license for Sun Market number 53.
This is just standard liquor licensing for Center Market.
It's already, all the boxes are checked by everybody else.
Mhm.
Maybe it was in there and I missed it, but which one of them is it? There is stuff, okay.
Everywhere.
Very market.
Thank you.
Ready?
Little. Move that we approve the North Sea Retail off-premise liquor license for market number 3.
Second. Well, been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Alright, now let's discuss city services rate increase.
Hey, Chelsea's gonna pull up some slides that I've got ready for you. This is mostly a follow-up to somewhat what Tom Sir was saying before. So this should not be new to anybody. I wanted to start off tonight though by talking about the anatomy of our bill. There you go. So just for informational purposes, on the left, what you see here is an actual city bill that was sent to an actual customer just a couple of days ago. We've anonymized it, so while the bill is an actual bill, there should be no personally identifiable information. We've made it a bill that's going to the city, but this is a residential bill. Just want to point out what our billing looks like for our residents and such like that. So hopefully everybody knows how to read little Chelsea wine and not go ahead and. Well, maybe that worked that time, I don't know. So in the upper right corner is your account statement, so this gives you your account number, the service address, the billing period I've highlighted. So this is for the month of March, we bill on a monthly period. And the billing date is always near, what does it say up there? 3/31 is the last day of the month, and our bills are always due on the 15th of the following month. So you essentially, you get the bill, at the first month, you've got 2 weeks to pay. Next, Chelsea. Oh, I think it's because you've got me clicked on the Zoom window, and that's what's moving when I click the button. Can you click back down on the PowerPoint? There we go. Thank you. So our next one is our summary of charges or the current charges. And this is really what I wanted to point out is, remember, everything on our bill is a water charge, a sewer charge, and then the leak protection is the optional leak protection to help with replacing pipes if you have a leak and stuff like that. That's the insurance plan that we offer here through the city. The chart that you see here is your water usage. This gives you the prior year's usage in blue, the current year's usage in orange, and wanted to point out specifically that for our consumption charges, you don't get any charges for consumption until you use 3,000 gallons. So the first 2,999 gallons are included in our base rate price. Next to the chart is our summary that again shows you what the previous month balance was, what you paid last month. If there's additional billing, that would be where fees or such go on, and then your current charge, and again, the amount due. You'll notice that right now the city does not charge any fees for like public service fees or public safety or parks. Many other cities in the state add fees onto this bill for those types of services. We do not. Okay, it's just a generic overview of what the bill looks like. All of our bills are essentially that simple. We wanted to bring up water rates again because if you recall last year we had this discussion and we presented a master plan, much like in a rate study, much like we did with Consort. That was given. There was a proposal to increase water rates by 18% per year for 5 years to again stabilize the water fund and provide for opportunities to pay pay for water infrastructure improvements. A couple of things that have happened since then. When the council approved this was literally my second or third meeting with you all last year. And there was a decision made by the council to only approve 18% for 1 year. Okay, the recommendation was for 5 years. The need for the 18% for 5 years is still there. Let me explain why. When we received this recommendation, we had $10 million in ARPA funds, and we were still looking for money to complete the $15 million projected project out of the port for the water line replacement and moving the line from out from underneath the runway at the port of Tillamook Bay. After the 18% was recommended by RCAC, our consultant, because we were in line to get a $7.2 million loan from Business Oregon to help us cover that gap between 10 and 15 million for that project. The $7.2 million loan was secured with the understanding that we would raise our rates in order to be able to service the debt on that loan. As of today, we have not, and I'm going to look to Sean, we have not taken a cent of that loan. And the reason is because it acts as a line of credit that we can take and pay back. And we received the $4 million from Senator Wyden's office to finish that project. So the phase 1 of that project was completely funded. Additionally, the bid for that project came in at 12.7 million rather than the anticipated 15 million. So we're also seeing a savings there. However, I don't think it's good policy for us to not keep that loan as a possible fail-safe, because we can apply the $7.2 million towards the beginning and design and implementation of phase 2 of that project, which is the next step and the next essential part of improving and solidifying our water lines. So in order to maintain our contractual obligations for that loan, we do have to raise water rates another 18%, again, for 4 more years before we can get it back to a manageable CPI increase. For the water rates, our current rate is $17.78, and if we add on the leak protection, the customers are paying $20.58, and that's what you saw on the bill I just presented. The 18% on this would add $3.20, making the total cost if you add leak protection $23.79. Sorry, that glasses aren't as clean as I need to read that one clear over there. So that's the water portion of the bill. Along with the water, that's the base portion. Along with the base portion, there's the consumption rates that also raise by 18%. What we put on this chart is the current billing. If we add the 18%, and then what the proposed would be, and then the final column is what's really important, is what the total bill would be base plus consumption. So just to make sure we're clear on this, if you were only using 2,132 gallons, you're only going to pay $20.58 in the water bill. It's not until you hit the 3,000 that your total water portion of the bill would be $35.80. Do you understand how that works? So that last column is what your total water cost would be with this increase. So that's base plus consumption. Are we all good on that? Okay. Of course, the utility services bill is not just water, it's water and sewer. Our current residential rate is $92.68. And this is using the numbers that you were presented by Consort. The first suggested increase, and I've only put 3 of the 5 years that they've looked at because I know that the council's not going to approve 5 years out. So I I don't wanna muddy those waters at all. But the first suggested increase was a 40% increase, which would be a $37 increase, which would get you to $129.75 for next year on the bill, if the council were to approve that. And then you can see what would happen in year 2 and year 3. Again, this is just the sewer portion of the bill. Tonight, you were presented a revised increase of 30% with 14.5 and 14.5 in the next 2 years. And you can see the difference in that roughly ends up being about $10 each year is the savings. So if you were to take the revised proposal of 30% in year 1, the sewer portion of the bill would be $120.48 for a single family residential customer. Okay, now let's do the big math. The total bill for a current residential rate at the lowest possible use case, right now, a resident is paying $113.23. If you were to take the option 1 suggested increase, which is 18% on water, 40% on sewer, the bill total would rise to $153.53. Using the option 2 with the 30% sewer increase, again, the water and the sewer being 120, the total bill would be $144.20. I wanted to bring this to you so you could see what a typical single family residential bill would be with the increases as proposed. Again, we are not proposing any increases tonight. We're not asking you to do anything. What I am asking you to do is to think about this and keep this in mind, because with water rates, not the sewer, not the SDCs, the water rates, we have to provide 60 days notice to our commercial customers, such as the port and Fairview Water, before we can raise rates. We ran into this problem last year where we lost 5 months of rate increase revenue because we didn't raise the rates until September and we couldn't raise them until December 1st. Under this scenario, my hope is that we could get a nod from the council that we can bring a resolution for sewer and water rates back to the council, or at least water rates. I would hope just at least water rates, that we can bring that back to your next meeting. Why the next meeting here in April? Because if we can get that resolution passed before May 1, those rate increases can take effect July 1, which is the start of our budget year, and we wouldn't lose any revenue on those increases for that full fiscal year. Does that make sense, the thinking behind that? To this end, we want to be very, very transparent with how we're doing things. So we have scheduled an open house for residents to come and visit us and talk to us about these rate increases. And we're planning to do that here at City Hall on Monday, 1 week from tonight, the 13th, from, I think we started at 6 o'clock, right, Chelsea? At 6 o'clock. The purpose of this is so that we will have several posters, kind of a self-guided walk around informational thing to talk about the needs for the rate increases, why we're looking at it, the condition of our sewer and water lines, the whole purpose of this. And so that we can talk about and hear from the people what their concerns are about these bills. We hear anecdotally that nobody can afford the increases and all that. We want to hear from the people themselves and give them a chance to come in a non-formal way to talk to us about. And so we invite the city council to be there, city staff will be there, I'll be there, we'll have Kenny, we'll have Sean, Kyle. I'm pretty sure Chelsea will be there. We might even bring some cookies. I'm not sure yet if we're allowed to do that, but we might be able to bring some cookies to entice you. Or to entice the community. But I wanted to put real numbers to these percents. We always talk about the percentages, but nobody can do that math in their head. At least I can't. John's probably smart enough to do it, but I'm not. But I wanted to give you the real numbers of what the total bill would look like. One other thing we want to talk about tonight, I don't have a slide for this, but it's the idea of those on fixed incomes or low income people. There are a couple of different ways that we can address these. Talking with Deb, talking with other cities, around the state and looking at programs. I talked to PUD about how they run their program, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The big answer is that we still need the revenue, and so we can't just discount stuff because then we wouldn't be bringing in the revenue that we need. What we can do is start a fund, where if somebody wants to, if we would have to define what the qualifications are. Is it low income? Is it under a certain percentage of area median income? Is it, if you're on social security or whatever those parameters may be, that would have to be defined. And then we'd have to have a fund, and usually what happens is you have a reserve fund that you can draw from and people donate to. So PUD has a fund that people donate to that out of the goodness of their hearts, they'll do that to help people with their bills. You could also increase, say, do a 19% increase, earmark 1% of that to go towards helping people to meet the qualifications. Frankly, any kind of program like that becomes onerous to manage. That's why PUD works with CARE to offer that program, meaning that PUD donates to CARE a bunch of money. CARE then has their qualifications with people they work with, and they determine who can get vouchers, and then those vouchers can draw from that fund to pay the bill. So it's not the utility that is managing that program. I have not designed a program. I have not thought about what a program would look like. I just wanted to give you some parameters. If you wanted to have a circuit breaker program like that, that's something that interests you. Those are the things we'd have to look at, is how does it get funded and how do we want to manage it at the staff or hiring a third party to do that for you. I'm not opposed to those types of ideas. I think they're great. We can also already refer people. CARE already helps pay people's utility bills. Often several faith communities have resources that they can help people with their utility bills. There is help available for those that need it right now if they ask. But if the city wanted to sponsor a program, those are the types of things that we would want to look at and understand.
Do you have any idea how much the PUD brings in donations from people?
I haven't been able to get in touch with them on that part. I talked with one of the VPs at PUD, and he told me that there's another staff member that does that, but then I was away at the conference and just haven't made that connection yet.
The program started. And CARE was negotiating with PUD to help them out, set this kind of thing up. The money was flowing kind of slowly, I guess, from donors, but there was a notice in every bill. And that began to generate more money, but even so, it was not usually more than $500 to $800 a week. That we're supposed to help everybody.
Yeah, it would take a long time to build up the kind of reserves that you would need to fully fund something.
Especially because PUD's got a bigger area that they draw from.
Yep. I just wanted to present options that.
And also, that would be on top of, we'd also talked about a contingency fund. That we haven't identified how it would be funded yet for the sewer out of the repair, and we haven't done anything with that, anywhere with that.
Yeah. So there's lots of things to work on with that. But I just wanted to give you the information so you could have the numbers in your head before we go to make a decision. That being said, is there any issues with me bringing water and sewer to the table for possible adoption and resolution at the next meeting?
I think it's important we can keep moving all the energy that's been generated, even though we were tired. So I'm certainly in favor of you doing that.
Anybody else? I'm okay with water, I don't know about sewer, but.
I would like to have both topics at the next meeting.
So,
I would like to cover both topics at the next meeting. One question would be something that Deb brought up in her presentation was that our ratio of how our commercial versus multifamily versus residential rates are broken up is a little unusual. How would that work in the council deciding that, since that would also require, that would play into the 60-day notice for the commercial?
Yeah, so before we could do anything with sewer, we would need to bring that back for you as informational, so we could have, if there is a specific rate calculation. For instance, right now, I'm embarrassed to even say this, but right now we have 29 different rate categories for sewer. I think we can simplify that.
It's what we are, I looked at it before.
Many of these categories have one customer. We've identified a single use case for a specific customer, such as Warner Meats, right? And Warner Meats is a great customer. We want to keep them happy. We want to make sure that they're taken care of. But maybe there's some ways we can reconfigure that. Deb is working on that actively. I think we could have something back before the next meeting. But that would be the one thing that would be the fly in the ointment, is those entire rate categories, and do we simplify that in some way?
I agree with Councilor Bouchard and Councilor Sandusky, bring them forward and we can have a spirited discussion.
Yeah, I just want to be clear, I mean, I think there's a couple things, I think one on water, you know, last year, I was the one that brought up the other side of the aisle. I think, you know, we haven't taken a look at the reassessing the baseline versus the consumption, that was the issue that last year, haven't seen anything on that. I have I guess, a fundamental issue with the idea that we have $7.2 million land credit loan. That we would be increasing our rate that would essentially serve as a future debt, and we just also heard the sewer side that we're over indebted. So I'm struggling with that fundamentally a bit, both on the water side. Considering, you know, that increase, a lot of the increase was to fund the $7.2 million loan.
So can I address that just in one way? Sewer funds, water fund, or enterprise funds, they are specific silos. Just because we're over indebted in one does not mean we're over indebted in another.
I wasn't talking about,
Okay.
I understand the enterprise funds, I'm just talking about in general, as a system.
Sure.
So, you know, in the sense of that we have a future phase 2 of a project, we have broke ground on phase 1. I struggle to say, let's increase the rate.
Actually, we have broke ground on phase one.
Oh, we did, okay, cool.
Yeah, they've been staging and working as of 2 weeks ago.
Excellent, cool. So, we just broke ground, corrected. And, you know, when is phase 2 slated to start?
As soon as we can get the funding for it. It is as simple as that. We have to do design work, and we were hoping to use some of this money to get some of the excess money that we have to start design work. It's about $150,000. And then once we have the design work, then it's just going out and making sure we have the money to fund it. I think phase 2 was supposed to be a little bit less expensive in the grand scheme
Yeah, what is it?
as projected. I don't have an exact number for you. That's when we're.
But the construction costs, that's what costs will give us, but they've changed a lot from the initial ones, because costs are right now, I have a part of them for you.
Yeah, and until we have a full design, we have a concept, until we get to a 30 or 50% design, we can't have those hard numbers to know.
Sure. Do you have a soft number?
I don't even have a soft.
If you also, it's a long credit, what essentially do we know what the cost of getting that is? Let's get to that, where we know.
The cost is the design, like $150,000, as I mentioned.
So,
We're doing much of it in-house.
yeah, I mean, I guess, so it's kind of the same point for me, I mean, I get that, maybe 157.2 million. You know, is needed at this point to get the hard costs to understand, but it's gonna take time and all the studies do, and I struggle with that, and I think it still goes back to the fact that. I still think that the way that we vote for water is completely inequitable. And that, you know, if we put the rates into a simple pivot table, that's on line, we could probably figure out ways better bill. So that's on the water. On the sewer, my issue is that we haven't even talked about bonding. Yeah, we talked about water rate increases, talked about SDCs, you know, basic math. I mean, I get the bonds take some time to pass, but a lot of that was based on capital improvement and debt service. Based on the numbers on their graph, looks like it's about $31 million. at our average assessed value. Say let's use a $250,000 assessed value, which is even higher than the one. You know, 20 years. It would take 2.5 to 1,000. To get to 31 million. I mean, that's $52, if your house is assessed at a value of 250,000. Which is pretty high, considering usually about 60%. That's $52 a month, that's a lot less than what we're talking about over the next. You know, several years, that doesn't include interest reductions. I mean, it obviously doesn't include the 3% increase either, so you're talking, 3% property tax increase. So let's watch that with the interest reductions, but. I just struggle to say let's increase water rates by that much, when I think we have a more viable option, and it really. I mean, it's not my first rodeo or bond, I don't think it's a lot of people's first rodeo. I mean, you're in the sense, you're not in the sense of we want a nice things, I think we're in a position where it's. This is one way to fund it. Is it more equitable, is it more cost effective to. The single family voter of Tillamook. Or. We have to increase, it's an either or option. And so. I struggle with increasing water rates, or sewer rates at that point, when I think there's a more viable option. That's my personal.
So just the realities of bond, if I may answer that question, 2 years before we could even get it on the ballot. Right? It would take a year of getting everything done and then a year of advertising. To get it on a ballot, and there's no guarantee of it passing at that point. Are you willing to delay any kind of service and repair and increase for that 2 years?
Why is it a year,
Because we have to do it on a general election cycle, which is generally every 2 years. And the production, getting the bond council, getting everything done, the time that it takes is generally 2 years. You have a year behind the scenes work and then a year of advertising. At least that's been my experience of working with the bond.
So.
Would that be true of every government? Agency or something that's going after a bond, because the school district just went after a bond. A year ago, and it was non-general election year.
You have to, can I?
But
If we do a special election and put something on a non-general election year, then the city has to fund that. If we do it during a regular general election, then we don't.
What do you mean,
Pay for the election, the mailings and everything. If we do it during a general election, then they just add it to the mailing that they're already doing.
We have a general election every November and every spring,
May.
every May and every November.
Every,
March.
I'm talking about every four year, I'm sorry, I may use the wrong language, but every 4 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 years, it's the midterms and the presidential in November. If we do it anytime outside of those, then it costs us money.
I'm pretty sure that the school district didn't pay for their bonding that they just did.
Yeah. We could,
We had the conversation with the county clerk that's over that's what we were told,
okay.
so.
So Justin, a question for you, just so I can understand and make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Is your qualms with committing to budget increases year after year, like let's say committing to 5 years of increases, or just any increase at all?
Water.
For sewer.
For sewer, I don't think we've seen the options. Sewer, I don't think that this option. I think that, looking at, based on the last meeting, when we talk about. And reading. Articles and hearing about 45 cents every dollar, looking at that graph, how much of our debt, how much of our rate. Which is one of the highest. In comparable cities of under 10,000 people. How much of that is going to debt service and how much, and if we brought that debt service and we brought those capital improvement costs down off the monthly rate of that graph. Then our current rate. It exceeds. The need of operations. You would gain 45 cents on every dollar. According to what I've been hearing.
But the bond is debt. Council member,
Paid for. By
by property taxes, just taking it from one pocket to another, Whether you pay it monthly on your bill, or you pay it annually on your property taxes, you're still paying the debt.
So if I look at that, if I look at that. And well, first of all, your debt is a lot different, considering that you would be going out for debt on the projects themselves also.
Sure.
So you're double depending on that one. The other reality there is that you have a very steady increase paid by a property owner, whether that's the owner of commercial property, residential property, who can then change whether or not they change a lease amount or payment amount, and it's a more balanced approach than in 20 years or 15 years when it was $231 for my water and sewer bill based on the rates that are being questioned, are gonna be $320. That's over half of what the taxes would be by now. I mean, per month. It's not the same, it's very different. And so I mean, I get that it's not the easy route, but it's the right one.
So Justin, you're saying, you're not in favor of increasing the rates. We all understand we gotta do something.
Yeah.
We're sick of it. But the roadmap to get there, perhaps, instead of looking at the rates, is to maybe look at getting there, that dollar number we gotta get to be viable through bonds.
I'm going to the same destination, but yes, I'm gonna take, I would take.
You wanna really get a long route instead of working.
And just out of curiosity, say we spend a year, 18 months, whatever, going down the bond route, which I'm happy to do. I work for you. We can go whatever direction the majority of the council wants to go. What happens when it fits?
I mean, that's the way, I mean. There's you have to go back on, I don't know. I mean, when it fails, if it fails, I mean,
But do we,
fast.
we're delaying 2 years of needed repairs. We've had 4 emergency repairs this year that because of 20 years of not doing preventative maintenance, we've had to do. We're gonna extend that 2 more years and put Band-Aids on it, on a 50-50 chance. I just wanna make sure.
I don't see it being a 50-50 chance.
When
If
you're-
it's educated properly, you're shown what the actual dollars will be. And this is how you're going to benefit from it.
Mhm.
Versus this at 2, whatever it shows. I mean, I think that's if you educate good enough, the school one passed, I mean,
I think the reality, if. The problem with that, not rolling that dice, is that if we go for an increase and then a bond. You're far more confident than I am in investing. You're not getting both. And so that's the hard that's for me, I get it. Is that. I could, if I thought that you could pass a small increase like those emergency repairs this year, pass the bond. Then I'd probably do it. I think if you increase rates. And then go to ask for a bond, I think you're dead in the water. Just based on how voters have turned out for other bonds and how someone. Proper, not someone counted, but how someone proper has voted. I think you are. I don't think you have the option to vote.
well, hold on, go through me so I can tell people when someone wants to talk. Go ahead.
So, and I agree, there's some probably number of ways we can get through it, but if we do go to bond, and I do have some concerns. It's, for one, we're a year, 2 years out, right now, without any increase, I mean, we're dead in the water right now. I had to tell him to put a hold on everything right now, actually, we don't have the ability to, so. I don't know what their coping mechanism will do financially, to get us by a year or 2. And then a bond's not guaranteed. It's a maybe, so if we don't have a way to be able to keep the sewer department functioning, which right now we don't have enough money to do that. How are we gonna do that for another year or 2, and then if we don't get that bond, we just kick that can down the road, instead of getting a can, we kick a grenade down the road. So I guess that would be the questions that I would need to have a good solid answer if we're comfortable. Sure, speaking for Kenny, otherwise, I don't know how we can operate sewer system anymore. That's literally how bad we're at. And it's gonna take all of us, I can't go, it's gonna take all of us, we're all living here, to figure that out, that right now is non-sustainable. It's for better mode.
So we asked for a financial study. So, long time ago, right? I mean, years probably. City managers gave us the financial study. They came at us with what, 40 to 60%, some high number, right? We said that's not gonna go. Now they're coming back with 30%. I'm not really interested in going the bond route, because I think we have to do something now. It's not ideal, it's not gonna win me a whole lot of favoritism, but I feel like we asked for this, we got the study, they did the work. I'm gonna support the city's decision to do the 3-year raise at 30%. And whatever it was.
13, 14 and a half, and 14.
As of right now, that's my feeling on this, and I just have too much worry with the bond. And like I said, kicking down the road, the big increases this year, we can't get an increase this year with the bond, that can't happen. So there's my concerns.
I agree with you, Counselor.
Bill?
Hope, like I say, so.
I was just saying, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, wait till next week.
I'm okay having discussions next time. Doesn't mean I have to vote for them, but I can
Right,
have a discussion.
did you have some?
Yeah, my concern with the bond route is that, however you guys want about it, fine, but I need to have your guys' plan on what we do if we don't have the money for the emergency repairs that are coming faster than, so that's just the run of the system, signing the permit, the DEQ. My concern is how do I operate it if I don't have the money for the emergency repairs? You know, these emergency repairs range from $10,000 to $200,000. So that could be gone next month, you know, like Sean said, we've had 4 this year. You know, record setting pace, not a good one, but that's my concern. So, you know, if you guys want to go the bond route, then like would like to know what the plan is to fund the emergency.
The other just concern that I have as city manager, if I may, Mayor, is, and Kenny mentioned the DEQ permit, right? We get much worse in our sewer problem, DEQ, and we've seen this here in Tillman. DEQ will come in and dictate the repairs and dictate the costs. I'm trying to make sure that we are compliant with DEQ and where we control our own destiny. So that's why I'm making the recommendations that we are.
Well, teachers, if they're not going to stop, they'll just show better progression. There's a time there. The last time they came in, it was not overnight. They didn't just walk in and bust the doors down. I mean, some of us were here historically when I helped them, but it was a process.
Sure.
So, I mean, I get it, the threat is real, we've experienced it, but that one was kicked down the road after they had already said, here's what we need to do. So, I mean, I think that was a real, and I would say that was a false reality in the articles, and I think that was, I mean, we don't have a learning. I mean, DEQ is sitting in their house, we're sitting in ours. And, I mean, I get that there's a possibility, but there's always a possibility. Our sewer system is operating really well. There's still a possibility that they're gonna come out and stuff. So, yeah. The DEQ, there's still time to do that.
Okay,
All right,
I'm hearing the direction of the council, I will bring back discussion at our next meeting.
I think that's the consensus about both rates, right?
great. All right. Moving on, we gotta get class today. All right, resolution number R 040626 requests to approve and adopt resolution adopting a gift acceptance policy for the city of Tillman.
So this is pretty much the same thing that we discussed at our last meeting, except Councilmember Oppenheimer offered some suggestions on things that should come to the council instead of the city manager. We've I have no issues with his suggestions. Those all went before the council. We're bringing the policy back with those suggestions in hand and just looking for adoption.
Anybody?
I think you did a good job putting it together.
Thank you.
Looks like it will answer almost any question anybody could ask.
That was the goal.
With that, I move that we approve and adopt resolution number R 04026.
A second.
Oh, we got it, I think both got it, both got the second. Alright, any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes by the council. All I have is I got the opportunity last week to go out to the 142nd Air Wing Division out at the Red Hawk or out at Fort PDX. Pretty amazing. They have a lot of F-15s, all the ones you always hear, look up and can't find, you're looking for them. That's them. It was neat, got to meet with some of the pilots and the crews and see what they actually go through. They are 24/7 coverage. It was pretty neat talking to them because they had a couple incidents where the alarm's gone off here the last week or two. They've had to jump up and go for like actual real life stuff. So it was it's pretty neat hearing their statistics and numbers when we had those balloons coming from other countries over Seattle. They would take off and be there within like 6 minutes over Seattle. It's impressive to hear what they can actually do. So just big shout out, and thanks on that. But it was a pretty good thing to see. So that is all I have tonight. City manager now.
Okay, the listed one is the letter of support for the Bridge Gang Downtown Lighting Infrastructure Project. I think I copied everyone on that letter that was sent. So with that, we sent that and that should have come in as an application, if not, then soon. So we look forward to working with them on that. Other comments, pull up my list here. Thank you to Deputy Recorder Hollis who keeps this list running for me. In answer to Councilor Ottmeyer's question about Tura oversight. I didn't want to have a big discussion on this, but what we found is the way the ordinance is written is the council pretty much washed their hands of that. And they have their own stuff and we can't go back, except they were created through an ordinance of the city council. So if the city council would like to have more oversight over Tura, what it would take is we would have to bring that ordinance back and redesignate. I don't know that we want to take that kind of nuclear option right off the start. You're laughing at me, council?
No, I think it's a good option.
Yeah. What I would suggest that we do is invite a joint meeting of the city council and Tura to talk about some things. Now, right now, we have two city council members that sit on Tura that are supposed to act as the liaison and bring these types of topics to Tura. But it might be good to have a meeting of the minds and bring both bodies together. I don't know if you guys are interested in that. That being said, the ordinance does specifically specify that 2 council members sit on the Tura board.
Yeah.
So we cannot even change that without going back to the ordinance to remove one on that. So I'm looking for direction on what you want to do as far as Tura goes. Do you want to do wholesale changes to the ordinance? Do you want to have a joint meeting? Where do you want to go?
I think we need to have a meeting. I think Tura's been around for a long time and it'd be kind of disrespectful in my mind to just change it without having a meeting with everybody. So that would be where I'd lean.
I lean over too. I mean, I don't, the nuclear option is not, I just, as I said last time on record, I struggle with the proposed improvements and costs and what Tura has an option, has an ability to do for our community. And do the, you know, it's, I feel like we don't have alignment. It's like they have a project they want to do. But it has like there's nothing about alignment with, it's just all of a sudden like, we wanna put this part of your property. And it's like, why? And what does it align with our plan, with our goals? You know, is that the best use right now for $500,000? If we had, they said, hey, here's $500,000, $400,000. I'm pretty sure that the city's priorities are gonna be much different. And so, if they wanna improve the city's property, they should probably be aligned with what the city wants. So, I think a meeting would be really good.
Okay, the natural follow-up to that question. Do you want to have this as like a work session before a city council meeting? Do you wanna have this on a tour night, on Wednesday night? What does this look like? Is this a subcommittee of the city council? Is this the whole city council? Do you wanna call in the president or chair, the tour board chair, and just talk to Victor? What does this look like to you guys?
Invite the tour board to come to a 6 P.M. work session before one of our city council meetings. That's my suggestion.
Seeing nods, nods.
Okay,
That sounds like.
okay, can I ask the mayor's permission to work with Councilmember Oppenmeyer, Sandusky and Knopfinger? Sandusky and Knopfinger is the tour board reps, right? I have that correct? To kind of put together a topic list of specific things so we can build an agenda so that we can be productive and not just show up and just shoot the bull for an hour.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think we probably need to shoot for a May meeting, I would think, to give.
Yeah, we need to give them some time to do that, so. I'll look at the calendar, we'll bring back, I'll work with the tour administrator and Victor. I've got a meeting with them coming up soon anyway, and we'll have the conversation and say we wanna have a joint meeting.
Sounds good.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Next on my list. 4th and 5th Street road closures, you've all gotten the notices about those. These are further emergency road repairs. 5th Street was a main sewer line that goes into our plant. Basically, all the poop flows through that pipe. And that's what was failing due to an uncapped lateral line, from what I understand. We were able to get that fixed. But again, this is robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? We're taking money out of proactive repair funds to put into emergency repair funds.
We get an uncapped lateral. That was pretty common.
We have a lot of those apparently.
What is it? What is?
I mean, what if that was like a property that was never developed, that never got a cap on?
Probably, yeah.
Or an old house that was maybe torn down. Generally, it's just a lateral line to answer your question, Councilmember. When you have a lateral line, you're supposed to cap both ends so you don't get water in. So we had an end connected to the main trunk line and then the other end just was open. And so when rain comes down and goes into the ground, it just seeps right into the pipe. And over time, that deteriorated around the main trunk line and caused the sinkhole. So that repair was done. The 4th Street repair was part of our regularly budgeted paving project, was get done, and I think we're also adding on, or were we able to add on a little bit of 6th Street onto that too?
Right now, we're just focused on.
Just on
4th Street done.
Okay.
And have Tyler assess how much response to see what we can try to do with 6th Street.
Okay. There's been concern on 6th Street that we may have to close it because we've got the sewer lateral projects that went there. There were 4 or 5 laterals that were repaired between Main and Stillwell. And they weren't able to do the overlay paving to cover those holes, so we've been graveling it for months until, and what happens is every couple of weeks that gravel just gets blown out. Surprising amount of traffic that goes down that street, and the gravel gets blown out. It costs us $500 every time we want to go put new gravel down, but we're trying to keep the gravel down so that we don't have this much lip of concrete. The cars go down and then that causes bad repair jobs and claims to our insurance company.
So it was the rest of the street.
Yeah, so that's where we're at.
I got a follow-up question.
Yes, please.
So I know 4th Street, everybody's cars are supposed to be out of there today. What do we do when cars aren't moved?
So we are very, very grateful to our friends at Bird and Towing, who we have, worked out an arrangement that we can, snap a picture of the car. They will move it about a block outside of the work area, drop it, and when the calls come in that somebody's car has been stolen, we can say, what's your license plate number? And it's right over there. You didn't remove it from the no parking.
Well, that's,
Who's getting charged for that?
I don't know, Brian. I didn't work out the deal. Are they just doing that out of the goodness of their hearts? We'll get a bill. Yeah, and we can pass that on too.
Because they've been notified, can that be
Yeah.
passed on to the residents?
It should be.
They've all been notified, Tyler, we've had text my gov. We've had notice.
We've had the signs on the street.
Tyler physically went down to every single house, including that ghetto part of the Sierra Village, knocked on every single door. So everyone gave them a flyer. So everyone knows, without a doubt. So when we pull a car, it's gonna be real hard to say, yeah, I'll go with it.
Yeah. Everybody's known for about a week, so.
yeah, I feel like the notice has been more than, and there's only a small amount, I know it's not a huge amount, but I was just curious, because when they paved the hospital, they literally paved around the
Yeah.
car back when I was working there, so I was just curious what this.
We hope to not have to.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate the update.
Okay. Next item on my list, SDC fees that we talked about tonight. There is a process that we have to go through that was kind of mentioned that involves 90 days notice. So just for reference, and my computer just died, so my battery is running low. The next, if we were to say we wanted to adopt that tonight, the process would be such that the meeting where we would approve it would be July 20th. So just, that's how far out we have to look at. So when we decide that we want to go forward with SDC fee changes, that's the distance. So those are separate from our rate changes, and the process is separate.
And at the time, then we can discuss amounts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me pull up my notes again. The RCAC survey, that is our financial survey that's been out since January. We've received 113 of a needed 300 responses. The third mailing is going out today, and this will include new addresses, so they've recycled who hasn't responded, and more surveys will go out. I will bring this up again on the radio tomorrow, on the county call. Chelsea's been putting it on our socials, but please, please, please tell your friends and neighbors, Jane, call everybody you can, and let them know that if they get something from RCAC, green logo in the corner, please fill it out and respond, and we can do that online.
Do you have a copy of, like, the envelope, what it looks like, to like,
Sure.
if I could get one of those, we could push it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Go ahead.
There's on the Facebook website for the city, there's actually a picture of the envelope, so you can see what the return is like, because it doesn't come from the city, so it is a little bit.
Yeah, it's, if you don't know,
Yeah,
it looks like junk.
yeah,
And even when you open it, it looks like a citizen service contract here.
Yeah.
Like,
I know,
the domain where the bottom part says this is not a bill, it's like, what is,
yeah. Unfortunately,
It's not getting returned.
I
It took me getting it twice, and I knew what it was.
we didn't have much say in the design,
Yeah.
so. Okay, so we need 197 more of those. We talked about the open house from 6 to 7, and then one of our favorite events of the year to put on your calendar, on Revenge of the 5th, that is May 5th, is Touch a Truck, where we bring out all the big trucks and park them outside and let kids climb up in them. It's a huge event, a lot of fun, and so put that on your calendar for May 5th.
What time does it start?
That will be from 4 to 6 p.m. And Garrett, thank you for laughing at my lame
Oh,
start.
you're a big Star Trek fan.
That was good.
Wow.
It doesn't-
And just in the terms of correspondence, and I'll be done,
What time does it start?
4 to 6, for Touch a Truck. We did get a letter from, I'll make sure I get this right, coastwide readiness. Regarding a petition to vacate their gravel road that runs between Front and First Street, which I think is on Elm, is the cross street, right? They wanna vacate that and take that over. Megan has began the application process and is working on that, but that will come before the council before too much longer, a petition to vacate that road. And then one other update that Megan just gave me tonight, our polymorphic AI, our Tilly, the municipal assistant. Remember, we did that for the main website, but we also have the CRM model that will help us with online applications. Our first planning application on that will go live this week. So you can submit and pay for planning applications online. So
Can we track how often it's used?
the municipal assistant,
Yeah.
yes, we can. I have a whole lot. I can tell you exactly what questions and what we're answering from.
Does it look like it's getting used?
I haven't looked at it this week, but I think so, a little bit.
You feel happy with,
Uh-huh.
feel happy with the interaction we're getting so far for bang for the buck, I guess, would be the. Okay,
Yeah, I'll look into it. If my
Good
computer
question.
hadn't died, I'd look into it for you now.
Strangest question from off the top of your head.
I know I've asked about sewer rates 3 times today, so. Most of them are just benign, how do I build a fence or stuff like that, but,
I
it's,
throw stuff out all the time to see what it's come up with.
yeah,
It's
we're,
interesting.
it's doing a pretty good job, so.
It is.
Alright. Letter of support for Grinch game downtown lighting.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Making sure we're crossing everything off.
Yeah.
We have approval of minutes. February 17th, regular session.
I moved to be approved February 17th, 2026 regular session minutes.
Second,
Second by Brian. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes by the council seat. Next is council comments, and I can't remember which side we started on last week, so we'll let Gary go first.
All right,
First class.
Oh, so- I wanna touch on the park celebration that we had, which was probably the best event I've been to in the 5 years that I've been doing this. Obviously Chelsea and the city manager and the staff did a great job. I do wanna shout out, I thought the Headlight Herald gave us a very favorable article with front page covers, 3 color photos, that was nice. I just think, and I having a conversation, I can't remember who it was at the park, but we need to celebrate our successes a little bit more than we probably do have in the past. And that's one of those things. I just thought it was a good turnout. It was, I mean, you don't get the eyeballs on that park like you do from a good street park or something, but I think I counted 125 people when I was doing it. So I thought that was a home run. And I wanted to touch on the Touch a Truck. I think that is one of the coolest events we do. I mean, my son loves it every year. It's just a cool thing that we continue to do, so I appreciate that. And there was something else, but obviously not important enough to write down, so that's all I got.
No comments from me today.
I don't have anything to add.
Just wanna remind folks that the open house for the new healthcare services and nursing program building at Tillamook Bay Community College is this coming Saturday. Starts at, I believe 10, and you'll get tours and, there'll be some activities for kids, I believe. So feel free to come and see what we got. I thought it was this guy, but if I'm wrong about that, I'll bow to your.
So, I think it's the. All of them, just for everybody's. I would count.
I'll do my follow-up. I forgot, I remember what I was gonna say. We took photos that we were gonna maybe use on the website. We had professionally done that one night. Was there any follow-up on that? Remember when we?
Yeah, we did,
That's what's coming in. I thought of the other day, and I thought.
the CVCC open house is at 1 PM on the 18th.
1 p.m.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks.
Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
The follow-up is that those were done and it went the contact that we have is an employee who quit soon thereafter. And so we need to
I'll get it.
reach out and get a hold.
I was just, I mean, it's obviously not high on the list of anything we've
Yeah.
done, but I just, compared to other cities, I guess, and other, there's just not much there for them to come. I know we'd all talked before about writing a little blurb on each person, that never happened, but that was,
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought it felt.
And we have 3 new council members
Yeah,
that
right.
need pictures too, so.
I don't even remember my picture being taken.
They. For good reason, but they took it out, they took it right out there during the before meeting. I think you were here, we were all here. It was a quick one, yeah.
I'm not
Strike
touching
that
that.
from the record.
So on another good note, thank you, Kelsey, for putting all that together for that event. That was a lot of work. I don't think people realize how much work that was, and that was awesome. And then Twin Ranch for the food, they kept the line moving, they kept everything happy. It was really good, so. Okay, now it's on you.
I'm good.
You good? All right,
With that, I moved to be authorized to pay the bills.
moving and seconded to pay the bills. Could you please pull the council?
Counselor Alstinger,
Aye.
Counselor Bouchard. Aye. Counselor Reynolds.
Aye.
Counselor Sandusky.
Aye.
Counselor Ockmer.
All right. Motion passes. We will adjourn. Good night, thank you, everybody.